At the break of dawn, the countryside still lay in silence when the sudden wail of an alarm shattered the calm. Without hesitation, Daniel and his hunting team grabbed their rifles and rushed toward the fields. Not a word was spoken. Only tense glances exchanged as their hurried steps closed the distance. Deep hoofprints marked the soil, and broken crop rows told the story. They knew the wild boars had swept through during the night. There was no sitting back. Daniel's team set out at once, following every trace. Today, they were determined to wipe out this threat for good. On the thickly wooded hillside, Daniel's team spread out, sealing off every escape route. To the east, a marksman caught sight of a dark shape flickering beneath the leaves. In a single breath, a gunshot cracked through the air. The bullet dropped the target cleanly, leaving behind a tense silence. But this was only the opening signal for a brutal chase about to unfold, one where even the smallest mistake could come at a steep price. On the western slope, David kept his eye pressed to the scope, watching the opposite hillside. Minutes later, a wild boar emerged, slipping through thick grass in search of cover. Seizing the moment, he adjusted his stance, took a deep breath, and squeezed the trigger. The shot rang out, and the animal collapsed in the grass without a chance to turn back. A chillingly precise hit, erasing the threat the moment it appeared. In another part of the forest, a close-range ambush was unfolding. While tracking faint hoofprints on the damp ground, Mark spotted a wild boar huddled in a thick tangle of thorns. Wasting no time, he raised his rifle and fired a clean burst, cutting off any chance of escape. The animal dropped right where it thought it was safest. Minutes later, gunfire echoed from multiple directions, signaling more threats taken down and a fragile calm returning to the hills. Deep in the tangled undergrowth, Ethan's team moved in quietly, determined to halt the destructive march of the wild beasts. Upon arrival, the hunters spread out, following every hoofprint pressed into the damp soil. Before long, they spotted a group of wild boars foraging, unaware of the danger closing in. When the moment was right, a gunshot cracked through the air.
The boar collapsed to the ground, not even taking...
One dropped on the spot, while the rest slipped away into the darkness. Not wanting the prey to escape, Ethan quickly guessed its path and relayed it to his teammates. The moment the radio call ended, Daniel moved swiftly to the spot. Ahead of him, the wild boar strolled forward, completely unaware. Without hesitation, he raised his rifle and squeezed the trigger. The shot echoed, each bullet finding its mark. This time, fate had closed the door on any chance of their escape. On the other side of the forest, the dog's frantic barking signaled the prey was closing in. Taylor gripped his rifle tight, eyes locked on every movement. In a blink, a wild boar burst out, trying to push through the thicket ahead. He calmly squeezed the trigger, the bullet striking true and stopping it just before the escape route. Another threat was eliminated, restoring a measure of peace to the forest and to the farmers living nearby. After a long day in the deep forest, the hunters returned not only with a victory over the fierce boars but also with the harvest and peace of this land preserved, a journey filled with sweat, determination, and love for their homeland. If you enjoy thrilling stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the channel so you won't miss the adventures to come.
Botswana is home to around 3,000 lions, mainly living in the vast savanna regions and national parks such as the Okavango Delta and Chuba National Park. However, recent wildfires have forced these majestic lions to leave their natural habitats and move into residential areas, increasing conflicts between them and local communities. This intrusion has caused significant livestock losses, generating anxiety among residents and posing serious challenges for conservation efforts. In Botswana, lions often hunt livestock such as cattle, goats, and sheep on farms. They usually operate at night, using their stealth and hunting skills to overpower domestic animals. To address this situation, the government of Botswana has implemented various measures to minimize livestock damage caused by lions, especially among farmers. One of the solutions introduced is the installation of predator-proof fences around livestock enclosures. The fences are made of high-tensile steel wire, reinforced with wooden or metal posts, and electrified to deter lions from approaching. They are typically about 2.4 meters high and buried nearly 3.6 meters underground to prevent lions from digging under them. These fences can cover several hectares, depending on the size of the livestock herd that needs protection. Since their implementation, incidents of lions attacking livestock in fenced areas have dropped by about 60% annually, a positive outcome for both residents and conservation efforts. Hunters who participate in legal lion hunting typically use large-caliber rifles, such as manually loaded 375 H&H Magnum or 458 Winchester Magnum models. They are also equipped with high-quality scopes, bipods, or shooting sticks for stability, and supporting tools like binoculars, rangefinders, and GPS devices. To be permitted to hunt lions, hunters must obtain a license issued by the Botswana Department of Wildlife and National Parks. The number of licenses is strictly controlled each year to ensure the sustainability of lion populations, usually ranging from 200 to 350, depending on conservation assessments. The cost of a lion hunting license in Botswana ranges from $20,000 to $30,000, reflecting the exclusive and regulated nature of this activity. When encountering a lion, hunters must quickly assess the situation, considering its size, distance, and terrain. The ideal shooting range is between 50 and 100 yards. They observe the lion's behavior, determine whether it is aware of human presence, and aim at vital areas to ensure a swift and humane outcome. After each successful hunt, hunters are required to submit a detailed report to the Botswana Department of Wildlife and National Parks, including the location, size, condition of the lion, and other relevant information. Additionally, they are encouraged to collaborate with local communities, sharing the importance of regulated hunting in reducing human-wildlife conflicts and supporting both livelihoods and biodiversity conservation. What do you think of this approach? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you're interested in stories about nature conservation and the relationship between humans and wildlife, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to spread positive awareness.
This morning I brought my favorite hunting rifle, a Henry single-shot .30-30 I picked up on a year-end sale last season. It's got a walnut stock and a long barrel that catches the early sun. I swapped the original sights for a Skinner peep to get steadier shots. When I tried 150 grain rounds they were hitting a bit high, so I switched to 170 grain, and the results were impressive. At 25 yards every shot landed in the bull. At 100 yards the first 4 rounds grouped under 2 inches. Honestly, this rifle shoots more true than my trigger finger. For years a giant boar has been my toughest quarry, a ghost on this land that only shows up after dark. Last spring I finally lured him out in daylight and tried to finish it with a .22, aiming for the forehead, but in a careless moment I pulled the trigger too soon and missed. The next night he came back to the corn feeder with a .22 scrape across his flank. So tonight, armed with the .30-30, I'm hoping to put an end to this stubborn hog once and for all. I searched the area and found the ground torn up, as if a plow had just passed through. I set the corn feeder right there, filling it with fruit-scented corn to draw him in. I figured that big boar would come from the edge of the field, so I took position in the stand about 65 yards out, well within range for iron sights. But as the sun sank, the target at about 60 yards looked tiny through the sight, so I set up a portable blind at 30 yards to shorten the shot and improve my odds. I hid the blind in the brush, keeps me concealed and out of the summer rain. Now it's just a wait for the trail camera to ping. If he comes back, I'll move in the next day. A few days later the trail camera checked in. The boar came back and devoured corn for nearly 2 hours, the perfect window to take him with the .30-30. My plan was to aim for the shoulder, punch through the chest and drop him with one shot. I avoided the neck because iron sights make that shot harder to trust. It's chilly after the rain and the winds died down, near ideal conditions. I chambered a round and kept one in the carrier. The rifle feels right in my hands, balanced and light, perfect for thick cover. I couldn't sleep all night from the anticipation. I'm hoping tonight finally ends this long chase. Finally, the quarry showed up. My heart tightened and adrenaline spiked. I waited for the right moment, squeezed the trigger, eyes glued to the sight. The shot rang out. I waited a few minutes before stepping out to check. There it was, the old boar I'd chased for seasons, a battle-hardened brute with a scarred shoulder from that earlier .22 graze. Seeing it lie still brought a lump to my throat. The Henry .30-30 had done its job, one powerful, precise shot. After months of being harassed by that hog, the relief was real. And that's where this hunt ends, the pursuit of the giant boar with my Henry .30-30. One clean, decisive shot closed out a long standoff between me and the most stubborn troublemaker in these woods. What do you think makes a hunt truly memorable? Skill, luck, or calm under pressure? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to join me on more thrilling hunts ahead.
Local people reported that in recent days, wild boars had been ravaging the fields bordering the forest. The whole village worried, so we had no choice but to organize an immediate hunt to stop the damage. Stepping into the deep woods, the familiar scent of musk hung in the air, a clear sign of the animal's presence. The team leader quickly coordinated the group, leading us straight to the trail where encounters with the boars usually occur. There, an ambush plan was drawn up and everyone prepared for the first confrontation. The ambush site was an open clearing, visibility good, but with many escape routes for the boars. The commander surveyed carefully, identified possible exits, positioned the team in blocking posts, and placed a reserve group ready to support. The hunting dogs were released to follow the scent point. Ten minutes later, the dog's frantic barking signaled imminent danger. The herd charged across the clearing, attempting to flee. From the open area behind us, we took careful aim and pulled the trigger decisively. Each boar fell. The encirclement tactic, combined with the dogs, proved clearly effective. On command, we spread out, continued to track and hold positions. The team split into 4 directions as ordered. When I reached a small pond cutting through the woods, a dark shape slowly materialized. I carefully raised my rifle, adjusted my sight, taking advantage of the moment the boar entered the water. When the animal came into view, a shot rang out. Patience and timing produced a precise hit. Otherwise, the bullet might have caught on a branch and the quarry could have escaped. Once the line was set, we continued to pin down a few more. The forest grew quieter, only the hunting dogs still nosing about. Just as we thought the pack had thinned out, loud barking came from the south. We quickly shifted our fighting direction. I ran along the trail to assist. A large boar was driven into a corner, thrashing in panic. I moved in, closed the shooting distance, patient to wait for an opening rather than firing blindly. When the opportunity arrived, I squeezed the trigger. Once again, team discipline turned chaos into control. At the same time, another teammate was led by the dogs to a sounder. He skillfully used the terrain as cover, approached and fired when he was close. In those decisive moments, every shot carried weight. A single miss could have caused the entire operation to fail. We continued to scan the area, determined to end the threat to the villagers' crops. About 10 minutes later, I heard a rustle nearby. Surely another boar hiding. The team fanned out, carefully sweeping the undergrowth. Suddenly, a shadow bolted past me trying to escape. I quickly assessed the situation, closed in and fired. The round hit its target, ending the dash. As one shot fell silent, another sounded deeper in the woods. Yet another target under unrelenting pressure from the dogs and hunters. Each shot was quick and precise, turning the dense forest into a battlefield without escape. After the tactical area quieted, the team, exhausted but cautious, thoroughly searched every bush to ensure no boar remained hiding. Once safety was confirmed, we began collecting what we'd taken and inventorying the damage. The hunt ended in order, carefully planned, fully lawful and in compliance with local regulations. Our objective was not only to address an episode of destruction, but also to protect the harvests and livelihoods of the people. Although today's damage has been reduced, this is only part of a long-term effort to balance the relationships between people and the wild. Once seen as predators confined to the wild, coyotes have now spread across North America, from remote farmlands to crowded suburban neighborhoods. Their population has surged by more than 40% in just 2 decades, and every year tens of thousands of sheep, calves, and goats are torn apart, costing farmers millions of dollars in losses. But the danger doesn't stop there. They raid garbage bins, attack pets, and even threaten human safety. Faced with such a growing menace, how can farmers fight back effectively while still maintaining nature's balance? Let's find out in today's video. In California, the threat of coyotes is no longer distant. It has crept into people's everyday lives. They slip through fences, sneak into barns, and attack newborn lambs. Chicken coops are left in ruins, with paw prints scattered across the yard. Gardens are torn apart, drip irrigation lines chewed through and leaking. Trash bins are raided, and pets are attacked right on the doorstep. The damage goes far beyond numbers. Money spent on fences, guard dogs, deterrent devices, vet bills, and countless sleepless nights on watch. Many families change school drop-off routes or avoid early morning jogs. In this reality, each gunshot isn't sport. It's a desperate effort to protect peace and safety for farms and neighborhoods. Every hunt begins with patience and careful planning, usually at dawn when coyotes emerge from their dens to search for food. In the stillness of that moment, even the faintest rustle in the brush can make a hunter's heart race, a sign that the cunning predator is close. This is when experience, thorough preparation, and knowledge of the terrain become crucial, because these animals almost never make the same mistake twice. Hunting coyotes has never been easy. They're not only fast, but incredibly smart and cautious. When they catch the scent of bait, they rarely charge straight in. Instead, they circle downwind to sniff out any hint of danger, and even the slightest sound or a glint off a scope is enough to send them fleeing. That's why hunters often use high-velocity rifles with flat trajectories like the .223 Remington or .22-250, paired with a 3.9x40 scope for precise long-range shots. But good gear alone isn't enough. Success ultimately depends on patience and striking at the perfect moment. If you enjoy watching intense hunting moments like this, make sure to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our next thrilling adventures. When night falls, the hunt enters a completely different chapter. Guided by their nocturnal instincts, coyotes silently emerge around the farms. Hunters rely on thermal scopes and night vision gear to track them in the darkness. Every shot must be perfectly precise, because even the smallest mistake will teach these predators to adapt and make them far more cautious. A heavy darkness blankets the field, with only the faint glow of the thermal scope revealing ghostly movements in the distance. hunter lies perfectly still, breath quickening as a shadowy figure silently slips past the fence line. In that tense moment, every sense is on high alert. A decisive pull of the trigger, a sharp crack tears through the night as the bullet speeds toward its mark. The coyote drops instantly, but if the shot misses, it will vanish like a ghost, and the next encounter will be more challenging. In California, coyote damage costs millions of dollars every year. They prowl at night, preying on sheep, goats, calves, and even poultry, and sometimes destroying crops as well. Strong fences, guard dogs, and noise deterrents often prove useless, leading farmers to see hunters as trusted allies. For them, every coyote taken down is more than just a number. It's a livelihood protected, an income preserved, and one less threat lurking in the dark. However, the situation is far from simple. Conservationists argue that coyotes also play a vital role in controlling rodent populations, which helps reduce crop damage, a clear benefit to agriculture. Meanwhile, hunters and farmers point to the rising number of attacks on livestock and pets, especially in areas where forests meet urban neighborhoods. In this delicate balance between nature and human life, each bullet fired is not just an act of defense, it's a reminder of how we choose to coexist with such a resilient predator. In the end, hunting coyotes with a rifle is more than just a battle between humans and wild animals. For hunters, every pull of the trigger is a test of patience and precision. For farmers, it's an act of protecting their families and livelihoods. And for the coyotes, it's proof of their extraordinary adaptability and fierce will to survive in the wild. Do you think humans and coyotes can truly coexist? Is hunting really the best solution? Comment 1 if you agree, or share your thoughts if you see it differently. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. In recent years, people in many rural areas have been dealing with an uninvited guest, the lynx. Their numbers have risen so quickly that it's become nearly impossible to keep them under control. They slip through grasslands, barns, and even into villages. Many farmers wake up to find their chickens, ducks, or sheep gone overnight, losing thousands of dollars each season. Barbed wire fences, barking dogs, and noise deterrents no longer seem to work. And as these stealthy predators move ever closer to human homes, one question hangs in the air. Is there any real way left to protect our crops and livestock from such a silent hunter? Hunting a lynx isn't just a chase, it's a true test of patience and precision. These predators hide deep within dense forests and rugged mountain slopes, their spotted coats blending so perfectly with rocks and shadows that they seem to vanish into the landscape. A hunter must know their habits well, solitary creatures that come alive only as dusk falls. To track them, one has to study every clue, a paw print in the dirt, claw marks on a tree, or a few stray hairs near a raided pen. One careless move, and the lynx senses danger, slipping away into the wilderness and leaving the hunter's long pursuit in vain. When hunting lynx, most hunters go for medium-caliber rifles like the .223 Remington or .243 Winchester, powerful enough to bring the animal down cleanly while preserving the value of its prized fur. A steady scope with 3.9x magnification lets them track the lynx whether it's hiding behind a bush just 50 yards away or standing still on a rocky ledge more than 200 yards out. In this kind of pursuit, the true weapon isn't just a strong rifle. It's precision, patience, and a deep respect for the creature they're facing. Pretty intense, wasn't it? If you enjoyed this dramatic hunting moment and want to see more adventures out in the wild, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our next exciting videos. Choosing the right ambush spot is just as crucial when hunting this elusive creature. The lynx has razor-sharp eyesight and hearing, one misplaced sound, and it vanishes without a trace. That's why hunters often position themselves on rocky ledges or along open clearings, where they can watch without being seen. Every detail matters. The camouflage they wear, how well they mask their scent, and the patience to stay perfectly still for hours, waiting for the right moment. In the end, those small choices can determine whether the hunt ends in success or slips away into silence. Winter is considered the prime season for lynx hunting. The thick snow makes their paw prints easy to follow, and their spotted coats stand out sharply against the white landscape. The harsh cold drives away most natural prey, forcing the lynx to wander closer to villages, where chickens and ducks become easy targets. Every encounter under those conditions feels like a tense chess match, a battle of wits between human strategy and the raw instincts of the wild. In every hunt, safety and humanity always come first. A reckless shot can do more harm than good, causing the animal unnecessary pain and making it harder to track afterward. Seasoned hunters wait patiently for a clear view and steady breath before pulling the trigger. Many regions also enforce specific hunting seasons and restrict weapon types to maintain a balance between population control and conservation. After all, a hunter's role isn't just to protect livestock, it's also to help preserve the delicate balance of nature itself. Hunters don't just rely on rifles. Some take on the challenge of hunting lynx with a bow. In the stillness of the forest, the hunter crouches behind the brush, eyes locked on every subtle movement of the cat. The bow is drawn tight, the string trembling softly as they close the distance for a precise shot. When the moment comes, the arrow cuts through the silence and strikes the lynx in the shoulder. Everything happens in a heartbeat, where calm focus and accuracy mean everything. A bow hunt carries its own kind of beauty, one of silence, skill, and the raw instinct that connects human and wilderness. The clash between humans and the lynx isn't just a story about hunting, it's a journey to find balance between survival and respect for nature. Every step through the forest, every close encounter, reminds us that we're only a small part of this vast wild world. What do you think is the most humane and effective way for people to coexist with such predators? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Your support means the world to us and keeps us motivated to create more meaningful, high-quality content. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video. Recently in Texas, farmers and local officials have reported a string of incidents where wild boars have charged into residential areas, damaged crops, and attacked livestock. These animals used to stay deep in the thickets, away from people, but now they seem to have lost their fear. Large herds of wild boars are moving toward farms, leaving residents alarmed and frightened. And that's why we were called in, a team of professional hunters, mobilized for an emergency hunt in the heart of Texas. We prepared thoroughly before departure, checking rifles, ammunition, communications gear, and our GPS units. The sky was overcast then, the atmosphere heavy as if warning of a turbulent night ahead. Everyone knew that a single small mistake could have unpredictable consequences, because these wild boars are not only huge but extremely aggressive. We identified a mountain forest surrounding the fields as a likely refuge for the herd. The terrain was rugged, visibility limited, so locating the targets would not be easy. This time we brought a pack of well-trained hunting dogs. Their noses work fast, and only a few minutes after release, barking echoed through the woods. Immediately, the team spread out, taking ambush positions according to plan. The first shot rang out. The hunt officially began. The smell of gunpowder mixed with the scent of dry earth. The cries of the boars echoed through the forest. A boar weighing nearly 100 kilos was struck and fell, and the rest of the herd began to scatter. From behind a bush, another surged across in front of me with incredible speed. In that moment, time seemed to stop. I raised my weapon, took aim, and squeezed the trigger. A shot sounded, and the animal collapsed just a few meters from me. The forest was now chaos like a battlefield. Dogs barking, gunshots, and the boar's cries blended together. We continued the chase, not giving any animal a chance to escape. The fleeing boars left tracks, and the dogs kept on their trail. I held my breath, lined up the shot, then pulled the trigger. The round hit its mark. Another animal went down. There was no time to rest. We kept clearing the area. Whenever we heard an alert bark, the team moved in immediately. A giant boar was cornered and about to strike back, but my teammate was quicker. A shot rang out, and it fell on the spot. Everything went according to plan, swift, precise, and decisive. The woods now resembled a scattered nest of wild boars, spreading everywhere, from large herds to lone runners. But however fast they ran, our hunting dogs relentlessly followed every trace. Targets dashed in panic, but there was no escape. I held my breath, didn't hesitate, and squeezed the trigger. The shot hit its mark. Just when we thought it was over, on the way back a black, shaggy boar suddenly darted across the road in front of the vehicle as if challenging us. Without hesitation, we raised our rifles and took a quick aim. It tried to flee, but I was faster. A shot rang out, and the animal went down, huge like a dinosaur. On the other side of the hill, my teammates were also facing another herd. They identified targets, brought their scopes to bear and fired, making a boar stagger. Before the hunt ended, they manage to bring down a few more boars. The thrill of every hunt is real, but behind that thrill lies a real danger. These wild animals now not only destroy crops but also threaten people's lives by moving into towns. The video ends here. How do you feel about today's hunt in Texas? Leave your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to see more dramatic hunting journeys. Goodbye and see you next time.
At the beginning of 2020, the people of northern Kansas faced a serious problem. Packs of coyotes began invading farms. They not only caused destruction but also directly attacked livestock, especially sheep, the main source of income for many local farmers. These coyotes often preyed on calves, lambs, horses, and even fully grown cattle. The attacks occurred frequently, causing heavy losses. Within the first few months of the year, the estimated damage reached nearly $500,000, a devastating figure for communities that depend entirely on agriculture and livestock farming. The coyote population was rapidly increasing, with an estimated 15,000 individuals in the area alone. Traditional methods such as fencing, noise, or lights were no longer effective. When the risk became unmanageable, the Kansas state government had to authorize expanded hunting operations to keep the species under control. Daytime coyote hunting requires great patience. Under the bright sunlight, they are highly alert and can easily detect humans. Therefore, hunters often choose the strategy of sitting and ambushing from afar rather than direct pursuit. Ideal positions are usually high grounds, hillsides, or rice fields with wide visibility, allowing hunters to track the coyotes' movements across fields or near livestock areas.
Damn. Right.
The most favored weapons are .223 Remington or .22-250 rifles, preferred by those who shoot from a long distance. These rifles have high muzzle velocity, flat trajectories, and minimal deviation at range. Their effective distance is about 150 to 200 meters, enough to bring down a coyote without needing to get too close. In addition, many hunters use electronic collars that emit luring sounds. The most common sounds are distressed rabbit cries or rodent squeaks. When they hear such noises, coyotes mistake them for easy prey and move closer. At that moment, the hunter steadies the rifle, adjusts the scope, and waits for the right opportunity. A precise shot to a weak point can bring the animal down instantly. However, the biggest challenge in daytime hunting is that coyotes rarely stay out in the open for long. They move quickly, often stopping abruptly to observe their surroundings, so the shooter must stay extremely focused. One should never pull the trigger too soon. Many hunters fail because they act hastily, alerting the coyotes, which then flee and become more cautious. Winter in Kansas is freezing, with thick snow covering the fields, bringing both advantages and challenges. The benefit is that coyote tracks are clearly visible on snow, making them easy to follow. Moreover, when food becomes scarce, they are forced to travel farther, increasing the chances of walking into ambush zones. However, winter also presents difficulties. The white snow makes hunters easier to spot, so they must wear full white camouflage. The strong, cold wind carries sound farther, and even a careless noise can make the prey escape.
Oh, hey, buddy. Hey.
See the third one.
You just gotta shoot. He's gonna go the other way. Hey, did you just trip? Yes, go for it.
Done. Hold on.
In recent years, training and using specialized hunting dogs have become a powerful support method. Well-trained dogs can detect and track coyotes' scent, even in deep snow. They not only locate, but can also drive coyotes out of hiding, leading them toward the hunter's ambush. Thanks to this method, the number of coyote attacks has dropped significantly. However, not all dogs are eligible. Only those that have undergone rigorous training and proven real hunting ability are accepted into the team. Besides hunting and dog use, Kansas authorities have also implemented mechanical traps in areas near farms, where coyotes often search for food. Once trapped, they are relocated to more remote areas with abundant food sources, reducing direct conflict with humans. This measure not only protects livestock but also prevents excessive hunting, helping maintain ecological balance. However, all hunting and trapping activities must be strictly supervised to prevent abuse or illegal trading.